Sam Collins looked out the viewport as the transport ship approached the Galactic Academy. The massive space station gleamed against the backdrop of stars, its ring-shaped structure rotating slowly to create artificial gravity. Sam's heart raced. At 16 years old, he was the first human teenager ever accepted to the most prestigious school in the known universe. "Preparing for docking sequence," announced the automated voice. "All passengers, please secure personal belongings." Sam double-checked his small bag. It contained everything from Earth he was allowed to bring. A few clothes, a family photo, and a small model rocket his grandfather had given him. The weight of being humanity's representative felt heavy on his shoulders. The ship docked with a gentle bump. When the airlock doors slid open, Sam's eyes widened. The arrival hall bustled with beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors. A blue-skinned alien with 4 arms directed traffic. A group of floating gas-filled creatures bobbed near the ceiling. 2 insectoid beings clicked mandibles at each other in animated conversation. Samuel Collins, a tall, multi-limbed creature, approached. Its skin shimmered with a purplish hue, and 6 eyes blinked independently across its face. "I am Professor 69, your orientation guide. Welcome to the Galactic Academy." Sam tried not to stare. "Thank you, Professor. It's amazing to be here." Indeed, as the newest species admitted to Academy training, humans are something of a curiosity. The professor's voice had an odd musical quality. "The Galactic Council still classifies Earth as a developing world, but your test scores were unexpected." As they walked through gleaming corridors, Sam noticed other students watching him. Some looked curious, others dismissive. The Academy housed students from over 200 worlds, all connected through a network of wormhole travel gateways that Earth had only recently gained access to. Professor 69 showed Sam the learning centers, recreation areas, and food dispensaries. Sam tried to remember everything, but it was overwhelming. The technology here made Earth's most advanced systems look like children's toys. "This will be your living quarter," the professor said, stopping at a door that opened automatically. "You have been assigned a roommate to help with your adjustment." Inside, a blue amphibian-like creature lounged on one of 2 beds. It jumped up when they entered, water dripping from its gills. "Greetings. I am Krill, 3rd cycle student from Proxima Centauri B." The alien extended a webbed hand. "You must be the human." Sam shook the damp hand. "Sam Collins. Nice to meet you." "I'll leave you to get acquainted," Professor 69 said. "The welcome ceremony begins in 1 hour in the Grand Hall." After the professor left, Krill helped Sam store his things. The alien was friendly, explaining Academy routines and answering Sam's questions. "Just be careful around the Vexari students," Krill warned. "They come from a warrior culture and tend to look down on newer species." An hour later, Sam entered the Grand Hall with Krill. Hundreds of students gathered under a transparent dome that revealed the spectacular view of a nearby nebula. As he looked around in awe, Sam bumped into something solid. "Watch where you're going, Earth dirt," growled a deep voice. Sam looked up to see a towering reptilian student with armored skin and yellow slitted eyes. The alien's muscular tail slapped against the floor in irritation. "Sorry, I didn't see you," Sam apologized. The reptilian snorted. "Of course not. Your primitive eyes are barely evolved enough to function." Several nearby students laughed. "This is Drak Thor," Krill whispered nervously. "His family has high standing in the Vexari Empire." Drak Thor leaned down, his hot breath hitting Sam's face. "I don't know why they let primitive apes barely out of their caves into the Academy. Probably as lab specimens." Before Sam could respond, a chime sounded, and the Academy director called for attention. As students moved toward their seats, Drak Thor deliberately shouldered past Sam, knocking him off balance. "Don't worry," said a voice beside him. A human girl with dark hair reached out to steady him. "I'm Ella. I arrived last semester. The first day is the hardest, but it gets better." Sam nodded thanks, but as he took his seat for the ceremony, he could feel Thor's cold eyes watching him from across the room. His first day at the Galactic Academy was just beginning, and he already had an enemy. Sam woke to the soft hum of the station's systems. For a moment, he forgot where he was until he saw Krill's blue form in the other bed. His first day of actual classes at the Galactic Academy had arrived. The food station in their room produced a breakfast that looked like purple oatmeal. Sam tried not to think about what it might be made from as he ate. It tasted better than it looked, like blueberries mixed with honey. First class is Quantum Engineering Principles, Krill said, checking their schedule on a floating screen. Professor Tulnak is strict but fair. Sam nodded, fighting down his nerves. On Earth, he had been the top student in his school. Here, he felt like he knew nothing. The classroom was a circular chamber with hovering seats that adjusted to each species' body type. Sam found his name on a human-shaped chair and sat down. Alien students filled the room, some giving him curious glances. Professor Tulnak, a tall insectoid with compound eyes and clicking mandibles, began the lesson. Holographic equations appeared in the air, spinning and changing as the professor spoke. These are the basic principles of quantum field manipulation that allow faster-than-light travel, the professor explained. Sam struggled to keep up. The math involved dimensions he had never considered before. By the end of class, his head throbbed. Several alien students had asked complex questions that made Sam feel even more out of his depth. "Don't worry," Ella said, finding him in the hallway. "I failed the first 3 quizzes before things started making sense." Sam smiled gratefully. "I thought I was good at math." "You are for Earth math. This is different," she said. "Want to get lunch?" The cafeteria buzzed with activity. Food dispensers created meals customized for each species' biology. Sam programmed his for Earth Standard and received something that resembled a hamburger. "Look, the hairless monkey needs simple food," came Thor's mocking voice from behind them. The Vexeri sat with 3 other reptilian students, all wearing the same smirk. Sam ignored them and sat with Ella. "What's his problem?" Sam asked. "The Vexeri believe they should rule the galaxy," Ella explained. "Humans are new to space travel, so we're at the bottom of their hierarchy." After lunch came physical adaptation class. The gym was massive, with areas for different gravity levels and atmospheric conditions. "Today we test endurance in varying gravitational fields," announced the instructor, a 4-armed being with metallic skin. "Each student will perform standard exercises while we adjust gravity." When Sam's turn came, he stepped onto the platform. The gravity felt normal as he began the jumping and running exercises. Then suddenly, his body felt twice as heavy. His legs buckled, and he fell hard onto the mat. Laughter erupted from where Thor stood by the control panel, quickly pulling his hand away. The instructor frowned. "Disappointing, Human Collins. Your species file indicated you could handle minor gravity changes. Someone increased it beyond the test parameters." Sam gasped, trying to stand. The instructor glanced at the controls but found them at normal settings. Thor had already reset them. "No excuses. Next student." Sam limped off the platform, his knees bruised and his pride hurt worse. "He sabotaged you," Ella whispered. "I saw him touch the controls." "Why doesn't anyone stop him?" Sam asked. "Without proof, it's your word against his, and his family has connections." The final class of the day was multispecies psychology. Professor Garan, a floating crystalline being, presented scenarios for students to analyze. "You are negotiating with a species that communicates through color changes. They show red patterns. What might this indicate?" Several students offered answers about anger or danger. When Sam's turn came, he thought carefully. "It might not indicate emotion at all," he said. "Color could be grammar or context for them, not feeling. We shouldn't assume their colors mean what they would mean to us." The classroom went quiet. Professor Garan's crystals glowed brighter. An excellent observation, human Collins. Many species fail because they project their own communication patterns onto others. As they left class, Sam noticed Drakthor glaring at him. "You got lucky, Earth Dirt," the Vexeri hissed as he passed. "Don't let him get to you," Ella said as they walked back to the dorms. "Find your strengths. Humans aren't the strongest or fastest, but we think differently than many species here." Sam nodded, rubbing his sore knees. It had been a difficult first day, but he wouldn't give up. Somehow, he would find a way to belong at the academy. A week passed at the Galactic Academy, and Sam began to adjust to the routine. He found shortcuts through the station's corridors and learned which food settings wouldn't upset his stomach. The classes remained difficult, but he was catching up. What hadn't improved was Drakthor's behavior. The Vexeri's harassment had become a daily problem. "Watch out," Krill warned as Sam entered the cafeteria. Too late. Drakthor's foot slid out, tripping Sam and sending his tray flying. Food splattered across the floor. "Clumsy humans," Drakthor said loudly. "No wonder your species took so long to leave your planet." His group of friends laughed. Sam silently picked up his tray. He had learned that reacting only made things worse. "Why does everyone let him get away with this?" Sam asked Ella as they sat down with fresh food. "The Vexeri Empire controls 12 star systems," she explained. "Many students have family on planets where Vexeri have influence. Plus, they're naturally stronger than most species." Sam poked at his food, then brightened. "I programmed a new recipe. Want to try it tomorrow? It's almost like pizza." The next day, Sam eagerly approached the food synthesizer. He had spent hours getting the pizza recipe just right. The machine hummed as it created his meal, but when the tray slid out, something was wrong. The food looked like pizza, but smelled horrible. Sam took a small bite and immediately spit it out. It tasted like rotting fish. "Enjoying your Earth delicacy?" Drakthor called from across the room. "I made some improvements to your program." Sam dumped the ruined food. His patience was wearing thin. "I need to understand why he's targeting me specifically," Sam told Ella during study period. "The library has information on all known species," she suggested. "Maybe there's something about Vexeri culture that would explain it." That evening, Sam searched the Academy's vast database. The holographic display showed images of the Vexeri homeworld, a harsh desert planet with 2 suns. Vexeri society is structured around dominance hierarchies, the computer explained. Status is determined by demonstrates of strength, intelligence, or both. Young Vexeri must establish their place in the hierarchy or risk becoming social outcasts. Sam read more. Vexeri respected strength and feared weakness. They believed that weaker species existed to serve stronger ones. Humans, being one of the newest species in the galactic community, were seen as particularly low status. "So he's bullying me to prove his place in their social structure," Sam muttered. The next day, in xenobiology class, students were assigned group projects. Sam's heart sank when Professor Jallarine announced the groups. Team 4, Zyra, Loxin, Sam, and Drakthor. They had to create a working model of an alien ecosystem. Each student was responsible for one aspect. Sam was assigned the oxygen cycle. "Don't mess this up, human," Drakthor growled during their planning session. "My academic standing matters, unlike yours." Sam worked hard on his part of the project, staying up late to perfect his oxygen cycle simulation. The presentation day arrived, and all teams set up their models. When Team 4's turn came, Zyra and Loxin presented their parts successfully. Sam stepped forward to demonstrate his oxygen cycle, activating the holographic controls. Nothing happened. Sam tried again. The system showed an error message. "File corrupt." "It worked yesterday," Sam said, embarrassed as the class watched. "Perhaps humans aren't ready for advanced technology," Drakthor suggested, earning chuckles from some classmates. After class, Sam checked the system logs. Someone had altered his files just before the presentation. The access code belonged to Drakthor. He's going too far, Ella said when Sam showed her the evidence. You should report him. Sam shook his head. That's what he wants. For me to look weak, needing protection. Then what will you do? Sam stared at the research he'd gathered on Vexari biology and culture. An idea was forming in his mind. I'm going to beat him at his own game, Sam said. But not by his rules. Humans have our own strengths. What strengths? Adaptability. Creativity. We don't give up. Sam pulled up more information on his tablet. And right now, I'm going to learn everything about Vexari weaknesses. Ella looked concerned. Be careful, Sam. Drakthor is dangerous when challenged. Sam nodded, but his face was determined. The bullying had to end, and he needed to find a way that would earn respect, not just temporary relief, something that would change how all the Academy students viewed humans. Sam sat in the Academy's grand hall with hundreds of other students. The Academy director, a tall being with silver skin, stood on the central platform. It is time to announce this year's Galactic Problem-Solving Tournament, the director said. Excited whispers filled the room. This competition tests intelligence, adaptability, and courage. The winner will receive not just academic honors, but also the right to propose one new Academy policy that must be implemented. Sam perked up. A new policy. That could change things. Registration begins today, the director continued. The tournament consists of 3 stages over the next month. May the best mind prevail. After the announcement, Sam went straight to the registration terminal. As he entered his name, a familiar laugh came from behind him. A human in the tournament. That's amusing, Drakthor said. Several Vexari students stood with him. This isn't a simple Earth test with multiple choice answers, Dirtwalker. Sam finished registering without responding. When he turned around, Drakthor blocked his path. I won the junior division on my homeworld 3 years running, the Vexari boasted. You won't make it past the first round. We'll see, Sam said quietly, walking away. That evening, Sam met Ella in the library. I need your help, he told her. Do you know anything about the tournament? I watched it last year, she said. The first stage is mental challenges, puzzles, mathematical problems, and logic tests. The second stage adds physical elements with environmental obstacles. The final stage combines everything in complex scenarios. Can we practice? Sam asked. Ella smiled. I thought you'd never ask. For the next week, they used simulation rooms after classes. Ella programmed challenges based on previous tournaments. Sam struggled with the alien logic systems at first. The Arcturians think in circles, not linear steps, Ella explained. And the Mendelians process 4 dimensions at once. Sam adapted, finding new ways to approach problems. He studied how different species thought and incorporated their methods into his own. You're getting better, Ella said after he solved a particularly tricky puzzle. But Drakthor will still have advantages in the physical challenges. Sam nodded. I can't match his strength or speed. I need to find another way. The morning of the tournament arrived. 64 students gathered in the arena, a massive chamber that could transform into different environments. The first challenge appeared on their individual screens, a complex mathematical sequence that had to be solved in multiple number systems simultaneously. Sam took a deep breath and began working. Years of human math competitions had prepared him for this, even if the alien number systems were new. One by one, students completed the task or gave up. Sam finished 23rd, not impressive, but enough to continue. The second challenge involved translating an ancient text that changed languages every 30 seconds. Sam struggled but finished in the middle of the pack. Drakthor placed near the top in both challenges. By the end of the day, half the contestants had been eliminated. Sam remained, barely making the cut. Drakthor found him as they exited the arena. Enjoying your last day in the tournament, the Vexari taunted. Tomorrow's challenges require real intelligence. Sam walked away, but inside he was worried. He had barely qualified for the next round. "You did it," Ella said when he told her the results. "That's what matters. Now we prepare for tomorrow." They stayed up late, practicing with holographic simulations. Ella pushed Sam harder than before. "The second stage will test more than just your mind," she warned. "They'll throw unexpected obstacles at you. You need to be ready for anything." As they worked, Sam noticed patterns in the way the Academy designed its challenges. There were always multiple solutions, some obvious, some hidden. The Vexari always take the direct approach, he realized. They use strength or speed to power through problems. "And humans?" Ella asked. Sam smiled. "We look for the path no one else sees." He pulled up the tournament rules and studied them carefully. Nothing said contestants had to solve problems the expected way. That night, as Sam lay in bed, a plan began forming in his mind. If he couldn't outmuscle Drakthor, he would outsmart him. Tomorrow would be his chance to show the Academy what humans could really do. The second day of the tournament began with 32 students entering the arena. The room had transformed overnight into a vast landscape with different zones: a rocky mountain, a water-filled basin, a dense forest, and a crystal desert. "Stage 2 tests your ability to adapt," announced the director. "Each zone contains 3 challenges. You must complete at least 1 challenge in each zone to advance. You have 6 hours." A loud tone signaled the start. Students rushed toward different zones. Sam noticed Drakthor heading straight for the mountain zone, where strength would be an advantage. Sam chose the forest first. Inside, the light dimmed and strange sounds came from all directions. A holographic panel appeared. "Identify and collect 5 medicinal plants." Sam studied the plant images shown, then began searching. The forest floor was covered with hundreds of species. Many looked similar, but Sam noticed small differences in leaf patterns. He carefully gathered each plant, checking twice before adding it to his collection bag. Nearby, another student grabbed plants randomly, rushing through the task. When they submitted their collection, a buzzer sounded, and they were forced to start over. "Patience," Sam muttered to himself. He finished the task and moved to the water zone. Here, students had to cross a deep pool while solving a floating puzzle. Drakthor was already there, using his powerful swimming abilities to move quickly between puzzle pieces. Sam studied the pattern. Instead of swimming to each piece like the others, he noticed the pieces moved in a predictable current. By calculating where each piece would float, he could wait at the right spot and solve the puzzle with minimal swimming. In the Crystal Desert, the challenge involved crossing burning hot sand while answering riddles that appeared on distant crystals. Most students ran quickly, trying to read and answer before the heat became too much. Sam took a different approach. He first examined the pattern of cooler spots across the sand. Then he mapped a path that would take him to each crystal with minimal exposure to heat. While others rushed and often had to retreat with burned feet, Sam moved deliberately, solving each riddle correctly the first time. The mountain zone was the hardest, a steep cliff face with handholds that disappeared and reappeared at random intervals. Drakthor and other physically strong species had excelled here. Sam studied the pattern of disappearing handholds. There was a rhythm to it, not truly random. He waited, watching several cycles, then began climbing during a sequence he had memorized. Halfway up, the pattern suddenly changed. Students across the arena heard a yell as a Mendelian contestant fell from the cliff. Safety fields caught them, but they were eliminated. Sam clung to the wall, heart racing. The pattern had reset. He needed to adapt. Closing his eyes briefly, he listened to the subtle hum of the holographic projectors creating each handhold. The sound changed slightly before a hold disappeared. Using the sound cues, Sam completed the climb, becoming one of the first to finish all 4 zones. As the time limit approached, the remaining students gathered at the exit. Only 16 had completed all challenges. Sam was relieved to see his name on the advancing list. Drakthor stormed over to the judges. The human must have cheated. No Earth creature could complete the mountain challenge. The head judge, a tall crystalline being, replied calmly, all contestants were monitored. Human Collins used an unexpected approach, but broke no rules. Drak Thor glared at Sam. Lucky guesses won't help you tomorrow, Dirtwalker. Sam was too tired to respond. The challenges had pushed him to his limits. As he walked back to his quarters, Ella found him. You did it, she exclaimed. Only 16 left, and you're one of them. Drak Thor is still in too, Sam said, and he's even angrier now. Because you're showing everyone that humans aren't as weak as he claims. Ella handed him a nutrition pack. I watched the mountain challenge. How did you figure out the sound pattern? Sam shrugged. Humans have always had to adapt to survive. We notice things others miss. That night, the tournament standings showed Sam in 8th place, with Drak Thor in 2nd. The final contestant was a telepathic Mendelian named Zura, who had placed 1st. Tomorrow is the final stage. Ella reminded him. Just 3 challenges remain, and only 3 students will advance to the championship round. Sam nodded tiredly. He needed rest, but first, he pulled up information on the Mendelian contestant. If he was going to face both Drak Thor and Zira in the finals, he needed to understand all his competition. Morning came quickly. Sam hardly felt rested as he made his way to the arena for the 3rd stage. The 16 remaining contestants looked nervous, even Drak Thor. Today determines our finalists, the director announced. You will face 3 challenges of increasing difficulty. Only the top 3 scorers advance to tomorrow's championship. The arena had transformed again, this time into a single vast chamber with 16 individual stations. Your first challenge: repair a malfunctioning wormhole generator. Begin. Sam rushed to his station. A complicated device sat on the table with parts scattered around it. Holographic instructions appeared, but they were in multiple alien languages that shifted every few seconds. Sam studied the device itself instead of struggling with the changing instructions. The components followed logical patterns. He recognized similarities to Earth technology, even if the materials were different. Power source, regulator, emitter. The basic principles remained the same. While other students frantically tried to follow the shifting instructions, Sam worked methodically, testing each connection before moving to the next. When he inserted the final piece, his generator hummed to life. He was the 5th to finish. Drak Thor completed his generator moments later, slamming parts together with frustrated force. Across the room, Zyra the Mendelian had already finished and sat calmly waiting. The 2nd challenge involved navigating a maze where the walls constantly shifted. Sensors tracked each student's movements, and the walls changed specifically to block their path. Drak Thor used his strength to sprint through gaps just before they closed. Zira seemed to anticipate changes before they happened, perhaps using Mendelian telepathic abilities. Sam tried running at first, but quickly realized he was wasting energy. The walls didn't move randomly. They reacted to his movements. If he stepped left, they blocked left. If he moved forward quickly, they closed faster ahead. He stopped completely. The walls went still. Sam took one slow step right. A wall began to slide to block him. He quickly doubled back left, tricking the system. Using this pattern of false movements followed by quick direction changes, he worked through the maze. By the time Sam finished, only 12 students remained. 4 had been trapped and eliminated. Sam now ranked 6th overall. Drak Thor and Zira still held their positions at the top. Final preliminary challenge, the director announced. You must stabilize an unstable ecosystem. Each station transformed into a miniature ecosystem under a glass dome. Inside Sam's dome, plant life was withering, small creatures were dying, and the water had turned murky. Monitoring equipment showed oxygen levels dropping, temperature rising, and toxins increasing. Students had access to various tools and chemicals to intervene. Drak Thor immediately began adding chemicals to neutralize toxins and adjusting temperature controls. Several students followed similar approaches, trying to force the ecosystem back into balance. Sam paused. He remembered his earth science classes about interconnected systems. Fixing one problem often created others. The ecosystem needed to heal itself. He carefully examined the creatures still alive in his dome. Some small insects were thriving despite the conditions. Sam isolated a few and analyzed them. They were consuming toxins but producing waste that plants couldn't use. Sam introduced a small fungus that could break down this waste into nutrients. He then adjusted the light spectrum to favor the struggling plants. Rather than fighting the natural processes, he redirected them. Slowly, his ecosystem began to recover. Plants grew, water cleared, and oxygen levels stabilized. When time expired, only 8 students had successfully restored their ecosystems. Sam's solution had worked perfectly, pushing him into 3rd place overall. The scoreboard displayed the finalists: Zyra, Drakthor, and Sam. "Our championship round will begin tomorrow," the director announced. "These 3 students will compete in the final challenge to determine this year's champion." As they left the arena, Drakthor cornered Sam in the corridor. "You got lucky, human," he growled. "Tomorrow, luck won't save you." Sam met his gaze steadily. "It's not luck. Humans solve problems differently than Vexori. Your species will always be inferior," Drakthor hissed. "Tomorrow everyone will see that when I crush you in the final challenge." Sam walked away, heart pounding. He had made it to the finals, but tomorrow would be the true test. Not just for him, but for how the entire academy viewed humans. The entire academy gathered to watch the championship round. The 3 finalists, Sam, Drakthor, and Zyra, stood on platforms in the center of the arena. Excitement filled the air. "Today's final challenge tests all aspects of intelligence," the director explained. "Each contestant will enter a simulated alien world. You must survive and complete a series of tasks while working with the local environment." The platforms rose, surrounding each contestant with a shimmering energy field. Sam's world materialized around him, a lush jungle with strange plants and unfamiliar sounds. A holographic guide appeared. "Welcome to Terralex. Complete these tasks: establish shelter, find water, make contact with native species, and activate the ancient beacon at the sacred ruins. Begin." Sam surveyed his surroundings. The trees had flexible branches perfect for shelter. He quickly wove them together, creating a simple but sturdy structure. Through his shelter wall, Sam could see into portions of the other contestants' worlds. Drakthor was tearing down trees and forcing them into a crude fortress. Zyra was communicating somehow with the plants, which bent to form her shelter. For the water task, Sam noticed morning dew collecting on large leaves. He arranged several leaves to funnel water into a natural container. Again, he observed his competitors. Drakthor had found a stream but contaminated it while forcing his way through. Zyra used her abilities to locate underground water. When small, 6-legged creatures approached Sam's shelter, he sat very still. They showed curiosity rather than fear. Sam mimicked their chirping sounds and offered them berries he had collected. Gradually, they came closer. In contrast, Drakthor was chasing similar creatures in his world, trying to establish dominance. They fled from him, hiding in burrows. The final task required finding the sacred ruins. Sam's new animal friends led him through the jungle when he showed them a hologram of what he sought. The ruins stood on a hill, with a complex locking mechanism protecting the beacon. As Sam studied the lock, a tremendous crash came from Drakthor's world. The Vexeri had grown impatient and was trying to break the mechanism open. Suddenly, the ground in all 3 worlds began to shake. A simulated natural disaster had begun. Flood waters rose in the valleys, and lightning struck the tallest trees. Sam quickly realized the disaster wasn't random. The damage was worse in areas that had been disrupted or destroyed. Drakthor's fortress collapsed as the disturbed ground beneath it turned to mud. The creatures had all fled from his area, leaving him without guides or help. Sam led his small creature friends to higher ground. He noticed the patterns in the lightning strikes and avoided the danger zones. The lock on the beacon seemed to respond to the disaster, changing its configuration. It's not just a test of survival, Sam realized. It's about working with the environment, not against it. He studied how the water flowed and how the creatures responded to the changes. The lock wasn't meant to keep people out. It was designed to ensure only those who understood the world could activate the beacon. Sam aligned the symbols on the lock to match the natural patterns around him. With a soft hum, the beacon activated, sending a beam of light into the sky. The simulation began to fade. When the energy fields dropped, only Sam stood triumphant. Zira had been close to success, but hadn't completed the final task. Drakthor's world had turned against him completely. "We have our champion," the director announced. Samuel Collins of Earth. The crowd erupted in applause. Many students who had dismissed humans now looked at Sam with new respect. "As winner, you may propose one new academy policy," the director said. Sam stepped forward. "I propose a multispecies respect initiative. All students must learn about each other's biology, cultures, and abilities. No species is inherently superior. We all have different strengths that deserve respect." The director nodded. "A wise proposal. It shall be implemented." As the ceremony ended, Ella rushed to congratulate Sam. Even some Vexari students came to acknowledge his victory. Drakthor approached last, his expression hard to read. "How did you do it, human? You are physically weaker than me." "Strength isn't everything," Sam explained. "Humans survived on Earth by adapting, cooperating, and thinking creatively. We work with our environment instead of trying to dominate it." Drakthor was silent for a moment. "These human methods, they are strange to me." "I could teach you," Sam offered. The Vexari hesitated, then nodded slightly. Perhaps there is something to learn from humans after all. That evening, Sam received a message from Earth. His victory had raised humanity's status in the Galactic Council. The path to full membership for Earth had been accelerated by decades.